there's always this beautiful honeymoon phase of relationships where everything is great and wonderful and magical. And then for us, it was about 2 or 3 years in where everything just starts to kind of really start opening up in regards to all of the coping mechanisms and the patterns and the traumas and all those kind of different things. And so what did that phase look like for you guys? Because I know looking back now, you can see it much differently than it was when you were going through it.
The first challenges I think that, we started to experience, I mean, we were in a honeymoon phase, I think, with like opening the studios. We were on cloud nine. We were so proud of ourselves. We were so excited. But immediately, like, there's stress with that. Like, we had rent, we had, bills, and we were in a commercial building. I mean, this was like a really big deal. I had a business partner, and there was a lot of drama like right away with opening this studio and us being so new into our relationship. And I think that this is where the inner work first book like really starts, is because right then and there we start to realize and notice like each other's coping mechanisms, unhealed wounds. Like, I'm always scared that he wants to leave or he's going to give up when things get hard. He has like guilt and judgment wounds where he's just constantly like, hard on himself or on me for not being perfect or doing
things don't go perfect
or doing things a specific way. All this stuff is just coming out like in the day to day. And granted, thank God, we both had the same philosophy of self-realization, yoga, like self-awareness. Like, we both already came into the relationship. We had a whole blog about it. I was already a yoga teacher. I'm opening a yoga studio. We knew this stuff already.
We talked about it right away.
But the difference is we had not been tested in it.
Yeah,
we could talk about it all day long.
Implement, it was still theory for both of us, and that's what I think why we're so passionate about all of our work now, is because it forced us to become masters of implementation and practicality. These things are all so cool and they feel great as a theory, and they make you feel so good as a theory. But it's another thing to actually implement and then put it into practice. And I think that's what these last 10 years have been about, is like, how do we take the first 20 years of our life, the wisdom and the seeking and the discovery, but now how do we actually actualize it? How do we internalize it? How do we make this real? And it's not just knowledge, but it's wisdom.
So we got the opportunity, like, on a daily basis to basically hold each other accountable to like, wait, like, are you the spiritual guru online that I found? And it's like, are you the yoga teacher Zen girl that like I found? Because like, this is the presentation that we have and that we see ourselves as. But behind closed doors, when things are hard, when money is getting involved, when there's stress and there's responsibilities and there's, cooperation that needs to take place, are we those people in those situations? Do we even know how to be? And I think that what Matt and I gave each other was an opportunity to become the people we saw ourselves as and that we wanted to be. Like, it was true. Like, who I saw myself as was true, and who he saw himself as is true. But when we first met each other, we were not those people yet. Our relationship created the incubator that helped us actually ripen into the people that we wanted to be.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying at the very beginning of when we started. We had the vision, but we didn't realize that just these last couple of weeks we were reflecting on how now we're really becoming that vision 10 years later. And it's like, oh man, well, I'm so proud of us to holding true to our values and vision, but wow, did it take a lot more than we thought to actually become it.
I want to highlight that. I think that is so, like what you just said, Ash, that your relationship became the incubator for you to become the versions of you that you wanted to be. I think that's really, really powerful. And I think that a lot of people, I don't know if a lot of people actually look at their relationship that way, right? When Steph and I first met, we had this beautiful love story that was like beautifully intricately connected with spirituality. And we had like these out-of-body experiences together where we could tap in and feel the versions of us throughout space. Like, we had all of these really beautiful experiences, and then bringing it back down into like the reality. And this fire that we've gone through over the past 12 years together is what created the versions of that. And I think that that's really, really beautiful. And I'm glad that you said it, because I think oftentimes people get into relationships thinking that like they glimpse that together, right? They glimpse the version of themselves that they want to become, or they glimpse the version of their partner that their partner wants to become, because we present those, you put on that facade in the beginning, you put on those masks and things like that. And then it's like, cool, you saw it, you got a glimpse of it. Now, can you actually come together where the rubber meets the road and do what you need to do to become those people and to become the versions of you that you actually want to become?
100%. And that's what the inner worker relationships was all about, is really helping people see that concept. And when we eventually talk about that book, like that is literally the entire foundation of why we wrote it, was to help translate that concept of like, everybody thinks that like when you date, you get to be that perfect version. And that's what we fall in love with. But what happens over time, like you just said, is that was just a glimpse, and to actualize that person now takes all of the work. So that's why it's the inner worker relationships, because it's like, yeah, everybody can be their best self for a couple dates. Like, yeah, I can, we can all be pretty perfect for a couple nights. It's like, but what about years, months, weeks of stress or issues or setbacks? That's when it really is a great chance to see what you're really made of.
We were meant to be.